We've been married 2 years, dating 5. We are both 34. I'm a woman, he's a man, if it matters. I'm not a picky eater. In fact, I'm quite adventurous, and every time I've traveled I've always made it a point to try dishes with unusual/uncommon ingredients to say I've tried them. There are very few foods I won't eat. One of them is mustard, the condiment. I don't like it. I just don't. The taste is very strong and overpowering, and it's an unpleasant taste. I've tried yellow, stone ground, honey, artisan, brown, spicy, you name it. I have tried them all. And I just don't like them. My husband for some reason never understood this. He loves mustard, especially honey mustard. He puts it on all his sandwiches, dips his fries in it. And every time he tries to force me to try it, he'll insist I'll like it this time. I'm a grown-ass woman. I know what I don't like. And I don't like mustard. So I'll say no, and it'll devolve into a mini argument where he'll call me picky. Well, last night we were on the road home from a weekend trip we took together, and he stopped at a gas station to get us a quick bite. He got a hot dog slathered in mustard. I got one but decided to keep it plain. I don't really love hot dogs to begin with, but I will eat them. While we waited in line, he asked what I got on mine. I told him nothing. He actually got furious and grabbed it from me. He marched over to the condiment station and began putting mustard on my hot dog, telling me to grow up and stop being picky. I just walked out and sat in the car. I didn't even want the damn hot dog anymore. My appetite was gone. He came back and began screaming at me for embarrassing him even further. The word divorce was said for the first time ever. I secretly recorded his screaming because I was genuinely afraid I would die. He was driving erratically, swerving and speeding. I'm in a hotel tonight. He ignored me all day at work, and then the call started around when he realized I wasn't coming home. Non-stop voicemails and texts. He sent me a screenshot of a Google search for local divorce lawyers. I haven't eaten all day and I've been sobbing in this damn hotel room. I don't want to get divorced, and I wish I had just ate the fucking mustard. Someone, anyone, please give me an explanation. Am I in danger? Why would he react this way to a preference of mine? I'm completely broken right now. Update 1. Regarding when I said no to sex. He respected if I said no to having sex, but he would ask for blowjobs over and over. I used to give in at first until I started dreading doing it. He tried buying all this stuff to make me like it, to make it easier or whatever. I used to like blowjobs. I don't like giving them to him. But he'll still ask over and over. I started responding with, I said no. Are you going to force me to do it? And he'd get squeamish and offended that I'd implied he would rape or assault me. If I have a support system, no. I've always been a very small circle kind of person, and I lost touch with casual college friends. My friends are his. It makes me feel like a loser, but I don't really have friends of my own. My parents are dead. My dad died when I was a teen, and my mom passed recently of heart failure. I have no siblings. I'm financially capable of living on my own, and I could pay for a divorce. I just really didn't want things to be this way. The mustard thing was always just an annoyance to me. I didn't consider it a deal breaker, but obviously it is for him. We have no kids and no equity. Our finances are separate save for one joint account we equally contribute to for bills. We were looking at buying a house. I'm safe. I'm at work and I'm staying in the hotel until further notice. He has continued to text. One message said that he loves me and doesn't want to lose me, but I've forced his hand by refusing to communicate or come home. I haven't answered. I don't know what to say. I forced myself to eat my favorite takeout late last night, but it tasted like cardboard. I stayed up late compiling a list of every time he has shown worrying behavior. I guess the mustard is the tip of the iceberg. Update 2. He has reverted back and has told me that he never wants to see me again, so I suppose that gives me time to read that book that someone on RA suggested to me. I forget the name. I will admit, while I was at work and thinking of the lonely room waiting me after 5, I considered just going home. But I knew what awaited me. I'm too drained to muster up the kind of apology he would be expecting in order for things to go back to normal. I honestly fear that our normal is detrimental to me. I also don't want to apologize. I don't think I did anything wrong, and you all helped validate that. I always felt like I was the one disturbing the peace. He'd get so upset over things that were little to no effort for me to just do or go along with because I loved him. And somewhere along the way I think I lost myself. I never liked mustard. I never liked golf, or camping, or red wine. But he loves all of these and wanted me to love them too. He said he was introducing me to his hobbies so we would have shared interests as a couple. But I have realized that out of all the things I used to like, he has either refused to try or ignored my interest. Our shared interests are just his. God, how do I feel like my own person again? My world broke not 2 days ago, and now I'm drunk at a hotel bar switching between Reddit and researching divorce lawyers. I still don't want a divorce. It's so permanent. I never pictured myself a divorcee. I used to think that every choice I made deliberately. It used to be a point of pride for me. But he's making this choice for me. And it hurts. Update 3. I took this week off at the encouragement of my employer. I plan to spend it finding a therapist that specializes in domestic abuse and sexual assault, which I've come to realize I am a victim of. I feel completely numb. I'm also looking into a divorce lawyer. Secondly, he found the hotel where I was staying. I guess he followed me from work. He was waiting in the lobby. God, my heart skipped a beat and I realized that I did not miss him at all. I was afraid of making a scene. I need to unlearn that, so I sat with him in the lounge area and talked. I'll summarize it. I pointed out the security camera and said if he tried to hurt me, there'd be footage and I would press charges without a second thought. He was completely shocked and said he'd never hurt me. I reminded him how I feared for my life in the car. He ignored me. He asked why I wasn't coming home. I was completely blank-faced when I told him, because you're divorcing me. He said he didn't mean it and was just upset. I said, when normal people are upset, they express it in a healthy way. You threaten the end of our marriage. I'm taking you seriously. He got pissed and asked if I was saying he wasn't normal. Honestly, I just wanted the conversation to be done, so I told him if that's really all he heard then there was no point in talking anymore. I told him I was looking for a lawyer and he should probably do the same if he hasn't found one. He lashed out and said, all this over one mistake? And I just stared at him. As I made to stand up, he grabbed my wrist hard and I pointed at the camera again. This just made him angrier. He never could handle slights to his ego. One mistake. It wasn't one mistake. It was a pattern of abuse over years. It was threatening me, intimidating me. I told him if he tried to contact me again beyond sending me his lawyer's details I'd be calling the police. He let me go. I want to say I was badass and celebrated in my room. I collapsed onto my bed and began sobbing. I was just so sick and angry and sad. He truly doesn't care about me. I've been crying on and off while ling local therapists. God, why is it so hard to find one? The amount of therapists that advertise but turn out to not be accepting new patients is unacceptable. I've looked into victims of DV/DA support groups as well. In the span of less than a month my life is completely changed. And he isn't remorseful at all. He just thinks it's all my fault. Update 4. I have a divorce lawyer. That's all I'm comfortable with revealing on here for the time being. I will also mention that I have moved locations. I am safe and secure. My work has allowed me to go fully remote. My STBX does not have my location, nor are there any trackers on my phone. I am in contact with people and organizations who are helping me. Earlier this week, the calls and texts really ramped up. I was advised to leave him unblocked and simply muted so his messages would come through. I read a few since I was curious. He wanted me at Thanksgiving dinner with his family. He begged me to stop being this way and what was he supposed to tell his family? Well, Thursday came and went. I had bought a couple of ready meals the night before so that was my feast. I do want to take a break here to talk about my mom. Since it was only 3 of us every holiday, except the rare times friends would come over, my mom wouldn't make a turkey. She would buy a rotisserie chicken and dress it up with stuffing, etc. She'd make dishes we loved rather than traditional Thanksgiving dishes. My favorite side dish of all time was French fries. My dad loved grilled asparagus with cheese. So we would have a rotisserie chicken with French fries, asparagus, and some garlic toast, my mom's favorite. The first time I had real traditional Thanksgiving food at a friend's house, I apparently told my mom loudly I didn't like it and asked where the fries were, ha. So this year, instead of my STB ex-husband's family's Thanksgiving food, I bought asparagus, fries, garlic toast, and a couple of slices of rotisserie chicken. It wasn't half as good as my mother's meal. But when I say I cried eating it, it felt like they were with me that night. I guess my absence at the dinner forced my STB ex to tell his family that I was separated from him. So Friday morning I got a phone call from an unfamiliar number. I answered it, thinking maybe it was my lawyer's home phone or another person I was in contact with. It was my mother-in-law. She begged me not to hang up on her. So I stayed on the line. She went on about how I was her daughter, she loved me, her son loved me, and how could I leave him over something so minor? He only told his mom about the mustard, and even then it was a watered-down version that made me look like a neurotic control freak who needed everything my way. According to my mill, he just made a side cup of it for me and asked me to just try it in the car. And I started screaming I'd divorce him. She then started probing about which lawyer I was seeing and what I had told them. She also reminded me that lying in court was a crime. My lawyer had warned me to not reveal anything we had discussed to his family. It took all my willpower not to say anything. Instead, I hung up and muted her number, too. She hasn't texted or tried to call again. Trust me, I would have loved to send the recording of her son screaming saying he ought to smack me upside the head, calling me a stubborn bitch, that he would divorce me, and that he would run the car off the fucking road if I didn't start acting right. I wanted to scream into the phone that her precious son started this mess and I was simply doing what he wanted. I have come to realize you don't treat someone you love like the way he has acted. Normal people don't want to have sex with someone who has already said no. Normal people don't keep pushing and obsessing over food preferences. There is something seriously wrong with that man. He texted me last night, Friday, calling me a bitch for making his mother cry. He also said he would come find me and he would take more than a locked door to keep him from getting me and taking me home. I forwarded those to the right people. I know this isn't a happy update, but things are moving along quite nicely. Update 5. I moved. I will not say where but I have found a new home. My job let me stay on as permanently remote. I can't go into details about my divorce or other current legal proceedings, but I can say I was granted a protective order due to something that happened back in December. Due to the nature of what happened, I was hospitalized for a time. That was what I guess made me realize I wanted to get the fuck out. I traded my car, had my phone checked for tracking apps/devices, and changed my number. He cannot contact me or have anyone contact me on his behalf. I am now several hours in state lines away from him and his wretched family. I moved with only 2 suitcases and a duffel of my stuff. I cannot wait to furnish and decorate my new home the way I always wanted it. I'm in therapy and I have a survivor support group I see weekly. I will be okay. I feel like I can finally breathe. Edit, you are all very kind. I've had a lot of people ask what happened that landed me in the hospital, and while I understand my story is entertaining, it was quite traumatic to endure. Respectfully, I won't share that until I'm ready. Update 6. I'm okay. It seems that I just can't escape my story, haha. I was getting ready for the day when my TikTok feed showed a podcast reading and reacting to my story. I'm here to reassure all of you that I'm okay, alive, safe, free. And with that stress and anxiety, mostly, cleared up, I feel like I can finally put to words my emotions. I was very small and skittish during the abuse and for some time after leaving. I'm not sure how else to put it, but I felt like I had to be small. I was constantly regulating and accommodating. It was horrible, in retrospect, but no one prepared me for the emotional turmoil that ensues once you're safe in a way. I felt rage like nothing else. I would spend hours screaming and crying into my pillow, hating him, wondering how dare he treat me like that? As therapy and my support group has worked to rebuild my self-esteem, I've become more and more outraged on my own behalf. I read why does he do that? And while it helps provide context to why he abused me, it still doesn't make me feel less angry, I guess. I'm angry for myself as a human being. He treated others with respect but thought I deserved all that he did to me. And that makes me angry. Of course, there was relief, sadness, all of that. I think I slept for days straight after I left. I was in a daze. My therapist reassured me that all of this is normal. I don't want this update to be negative, not in the slightest. So some good news as well. My therapist recommended yoga and Pilates, and it has been great for me. The release of a deep stretch, being in shape, feeling strong at all has helped me massively. I feel healthy, and yes, I cry when I do hip opening stretches, haha. Also, I made friends. Real friends. I joined a local women's club, part of my neighborhood, and we do various activities bi-monthly. This next week, we'll be doing a little embroidery project. Everyone brings snacks and we just enjoy each other's company. I felt very wrathful and I wanted bad things to happen to him, and that made me feel tremendous guilt. He did not do jail time. He went to mandated counseling and that was considered legally acceptable, equivalent to jail in our state. Now on to second story. Boyfriend dismissed my feelings after his friend's wife changed my traditional dessert, belittling my culture and calling me childish. My boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 22F, met at work 2 years ago. Technically I was working part-time during undergrad and he was a customer, but after a couple of months, we started going out. I really love this man and nothing has happened on this scale before, so I'm very confused about it. My BF has a very tight group of friends. I am well acquainted with them, and their girlfriends. One of them, Dave, just is married to Ellie, fake names. Ellie is an excellent cook and often hosts dinners, and everyone brings a dessert to those dinners. I am the youngest in the group, so most times they brush off my requests for contributing or bringing in a dessert. However, the last time I asked Dave and Ellie if they wanted anything extra like wine or some sweet dish for dinner, they said I could bring one of those sweet dishes I make for my boyfriend. I'm Indian, and even though I can't cook as well as my mom, and I'm in a different country for studies, I called my mom up and had her teach me properly how to make a specific Bengali sweet which is my favorite. I had my friends taste it and they said it was great. My boyfriend ate some and said it was excellent. Except, last night, I greeted Ellie and kept the dish in the kitchen. When the food was brought out and my boyfriend told everyone I made it, I saw that someone had added cinnamon powder to the sweet. You never have the sweet with cinnamon powder. The dessert tasted like cinnamon and I felt horrible. Though everyone said, thank you and it was good, I think my face gave it away, and my boyfriend took me aside and said that Ellie had told him that my sweet looked too white and thought some cinnamon might bring some color into it. I don't know, I just felt awful and I started to tear up. My boyfriend then defended Ellie and said that his friends already think I'm a child and not make a big deal of this and we will talk about it. I told him Ellie asked him first, couldn't he have told her not to add cinnamon to the sweet? He told me he didn't think it was a big deal and asked me to drop the topic on the way home. I didn't text him goodnight and this morning he said he was sorry and said my crying made him feel like an awful person. I don't know, now I think I overreacted. Update 1. He said we needed to talk. For safety purposes, my best friend will be here. I don't know, I never expected my post to blow up. I usually just hang around my boyfriend's friends during these dinners. I admit I feel a little left out because they all have been friends for so long, and I'm from a different culture, but they have never said any outright offensive thing to me. My boyfriend doesn't treat me like a child. He mentioned before that due to my age his friends see me like a much younger sister. So I guess that's why he said it. I don't know, I'm kind of rethinking his words. Update 2. He said he needed space from the relationship. I think with the way this post blew up and what happened because of a post, I should clear up some things. I never asked if I should leave my boyfriend for this. I asked if this was an overreaction, my crying. But having thousands of people tell me this was racially charged, Ellie wanted power, my BF is shitty, etc., my brain went haywire. BF called yesterday and when I got there, his house, with my best friend, Dave and Ellie were there. Ellie was crying and Dave looked really pissed at me. My BF told me to sit down and Dave started with how could I make a post that most of the people in the dinner party would recognize and know, and could shame Ellie and my BF. My BF was silent, and wouldn't even look at me, and was only shaking his head. It felt like I was a kid, being scolded by my parents with my elder sibling disappointed in my actions. That is what I felt and it looked. I admit, it was very spineless of me, but Dave went on for like a minute and I was just looking at my BF waiting for him to defend me. I asked Ellie, why would she alter my dish, after telling me to bring an Indian dish? She said she thought Indian food would be brown. This woman has more Indian friends than me, and she thinks Indian food is brown. She grew up in the UK, FFs. And I felt so defeated. The comments, my friends, and people around me telling me, his friends came first to him, not me. He said he didn't think the sweet was a big deal. I told him I would never let my friend alter something he spent 3 days learning, getting people to taste it and got his mom involved in. He saw I put a lot of effort into it, so why let her alter it? Why couldn't he ask me? Ellie started to cry and say that she wasn't being racist and she wouldn't know that I put effort into it and now she couldn't host dinners again. I said I used fake names, so why does it matter, unless she and Dave went around telling people. BF told me he didn't expect this from me. My best friend piped up that he expected that my BF would have a effing spine, so I guess they were both disappointed. My Ignow ex BF told me, in front of Dave and Ellie that he needs some space. I told him to get lost. I dunno what my best friend said to him after that, considering I left BF's flat. I kind of tripped in the metro station, so now I'm crying on my best friend's couch with an ice pack while his BF keeps giving me peach schnapps and my relationship has toppled over. I wouldn't have stormed out, had he looked at me once. He just looked 100% on Dave and Ellie's side, and acted like I was the one with the problem when she caused me hurt. If his friends come first when they cause me hurt, where would I have been, if I decided to marry this man? My friends are good to me and are acting like I'm some fragile glass. I even heard my best friend and his brother whispering loudly from the kitchen and his elder brother wanting to threaten him via Insta DMs. I hate that this has come to this, considering I have always been the mom friend to my friend group. I'm drunk while writing this, so have some grace in the comments. Also, if you'll be an incel like those people in my DMs, telling me I'll never keep a man if I'm this dramatic, please go away. I just thought I needed to update, that's it. Thanks guys. Edit, guys, this is the first time I faced what y'all have been calling racism. TBH, I didn't see Ellie putting cinnamon into my Rasagala as racism. I was just hurt that my days of hard work was ruined, that's it. I understand I need to work on my self-esteem and not let people walk over me. My best friend's elder brother, he's a doctor and is super pissed at my ex-RN, because he didn't know what happened, booked an appointment with a therapist he knows, as he thinks I need mental help to not normalize aggressive behavior. I'm sorry for ranting on Reddit, but I guess that's where I am. Both my best friend and I will be going, he had been there for some time before, and the situation is tense at home because bestie's brother, didn't know what was happening and tore my friends a new one for not protesting when Dave said shit to me. I still haven't told him it was over a Reddit post and that I'm writing here. I feel awful and I don't know how to tell my mom she was right. I wish I never went out with him. One of my ex's friends, from the dinner party, asked me if I really left my ex over a dessert, so I guess that's what he told people. It hurts, I know it shouldn't, but it hurts. I think it is partially my fault, I shouldn't have let myself be treated like this. There were signs and I ignored them. And now I think I'll never have another relationship because it feels like a horrible, anxious feeling.